So we're here with Laurance Aderemi. He is the owner of a startup, an e-commerce startup called Money. I'm going to let him talk about it, but what's important is that his company is the winner of the Startup e-nnovation, Start with e-nnovation competition that was started on the other 2 days ago, and so is the grand prize finalist or grand prize winner. So we'd like to have him talk about Money and start with that.
Thank you for having me. It's been a really wonderful experience to be here in Poznan.
Good.
And to interact with all the fellow digital entrepreneurs and technologists, and to really learn more about what's going on in the ecosystem here. It's been really fascinating.
Here, Poland?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So we had the opportunity to spend some time in Krakow and Warsaw before we came to Poznan, and it's been really fascinating.
Okay. So tell us where the motivation came from to start Money, because you live in the UK.
Sure, absolutely.
And Poland's being one of its greatest targets. Talk about that.
So the motivation came from a personal problem that I had. My mother was taken ill. I needed to send money back home, and I was frustrated by the experiences that I had with all the other solutions. They were too expensive, too inconvenient, not simple enough, opaque, lack of transparency in the FX. But the most important thing was it was expensive, right? And we thought by using technology, we could reduce the friction and the cost associated with sending money home. And that's what we built. That's why we built Money.
Technology is helping you take care of a problem.
Exactly.
Yes.
You've heard that before.
Beautiful.
So that's where we started with. What I didn't realize when I started building it was how complex this landscape is. I mentioned on stage that the way we send money hasn't changed fundamentally in 100 years, and that's because it's incredibly complicated, not just from a regulatory perspective, but also connecting different networks in order for the receiver at the other end to be able to get the money. It's a big challenge.
I'm very personally curious, because I also deal with some of these problems. Can you kind of sum up what is at the root of those problems? Because I understand, there's is it a matter of systems being totally different and you can't?
So I think that's one of the challenges is different legacy systems. You also have the issues of different banks and banking corresponding networks. You lay that on top, the regulatory, and so each country has its own regulatory framework of what you can do and what you can't do. When you put that all into a bowl, you stir it, it's an incredible concoction. It makes it really difficult for innovation.
Especially because you're dealing with such big
giant beasts.
Right. And so everything's going to take forever to process.
Exactly that. So, if you think about things like Swift, it's been around for many years. And so people have a set way of doing things. And I think that the most important thing to take away is whether you're sending £100 or £100,000, the banks do it the same way. So it's not necessarily advantageous for them. They're not geared up to move small amounts of money, right? And so that's why people look to the likes of Western Union and MoneyGram. And traditionally, they have been the go-to for you to be able to send money home to your friends and family. And what we're trying to do is bring down the cost so that the people at the other end, the people who need it the most, can get more. Right, and that's the real motivation here, is how do we enable the people who need the money get more at the other end, and that's the thing that gets that out of bed.
For as cheap as possible.
Correct, exactly that.
So, based on you won the 10,000 euro.
Yeah.
It's going to go to good use. How, based on what you've already been dealing with, how quickly do you think things will be changing for that industry, for the money transfer, international transfer industry? The future of transferring money overseas.
So I think that it's not going to move that quickly.
It's not going to. It's so.
I think that
slow,
it's still going to be a challenge. And what we're doing is we're biting off piecemeal at a time. Our focus is UK out, so Poland being our launch country. There's about 700,000 Polish people who live in the UK, and they send over $1 billion back home every year.
billion.
Yeah, exactly. And so, we think that there is an opportunity here to bring down the price and give them a better experience, a more intuitive experience, which is more transparent, so they know exactly how much it's costing them, and they know exactly how long it's going to take, and it gives money back to the other end. And when it gives money back into the other end, it actually stimulates the local economy. So, the money that's going in will go into Polish supermarkets and go to Polish shops, and people buy more, and therefore that stimulates the economy. And I think that's one of the key principles that we want to do, is enable the transformation on the ground.
Okay. What is the actual technological aspect? How is it that technology is actually helping this process work better? What's the actual thing that you're doing?
So there's a couple of things that are like our magic sauce. But what we try to do is avoid the traditional banking route. That's not to say we don't send bank to bank. What we try to do is do it in such a way that we think is clever and intuitive. And that's part of our secret sauce.
It's a secret.
It's a secret sauce.
So you can't. Okay.
It's a secret sauce.
Do you have lots of bank people in the banking industry as consultants? No. Okay.
No.
Well, good luck with everything that you do. It's been a pleasure, and congratulations on winning it. I'm personally hoping to see very good things come from money, because I can personally relate to some of those frustrations.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Very nice
Good
to have
meet
you.